My name is Marcus Hale. I'm 28 years old, and 15 years ago, my parents left me standing on a sidewalk with a duffel bag and told me not to come back. Last week, they were the ones standing at my door. Not proud. Not confident. Desperate. And what they asked me for, after everything they did, it almost made me laugh. But I didn't laugh. Because what happened next was something they never prepared for. Before I tell you how the people who abandoned me ended up begging for my help, take a second to like the video if you connect with stories about justice, boundaries, and proving people wrong. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching from right now? Because to understand how this moment happened, we need to go back to when I was 13 years old, standing in front of a house that was never really my home. I grew up in a quiet suburb outside Columbus, Ohio. The kind of place where everything looks normal from the outside. Neatly trimmed lawns. Two-car garages. Family dinners behind closed doors. But inside our house, things worked differently. My parents, David and Karen Hale, had one rule they never said out loud. You were only valuable if you were useful. My older brother, Ryan? He was everything they wanted. Straight A's. Varsity football. Popular. He made them look good. Me? I was quieter. More into computers, books, building things. And for some reason, that made me invisible. Or worse, inconvenient. I remember one night when I was 12. Ryan had just won a regional game. My parents threw a full-on celebration, neighbors, food, music. A week later, I got first place in a statewide coding competition. I showed my dad the certificate. He glanced at it for maybe 2 seconds. Then said, "That's nice, but does it actually matter?" That was the moment something shifted in me. I stopped trying to impress them. Because I realized I never would. The breaking point came a year later. I was 13. And I got accepted into a summer tech program in Chicago. Full scholarship. Housing included. Meals covered. For the first time, I had something that was mine. I waited until dinner to tell them. I thought maybe this time, they'd be proud. They weren't. "We can't deal with this right now," my mom said, barely looking up from her plate. Ryan had just been invited to an elite football camp. Cost $3,000. No scholarship. Guess which one they chose? "You'll stay home," my dad said. Ryan's opportunity actually matters. I felt something snap. "I earned this," I said. Silence. The kind that makes your chest tighten. My dad slowly put his fork down. "If you can't support this family," he said, "then maybe you shouldn't be part of it." I thought it was just anger. I didn't know he meant it. 3 days later, I came home from school. And my stuff was outside. A single duffel bag. My clothes. A toothbrush. A couple of books. That was it. My mom stood in the doorway. No tears. No hesitation. "We called your uncle," she said. "He'll take you." I looked past her. My dad was in the hallway. Didn't say a word. Ryan was upstairs. Didn't come down. I stood there, waiting for someone to stop it. No one did. I sat on that curb for 3 hours. Watching cars pass. Watching the sun go down. Wondering what I did to deserve it. When my uncle finally pulled up, he didn't ask questions. He just hugged me. And said something I'll never forget. "You're not the problem." Okay, pause for a second. If you've made it this far, I need to know. What do you think happens next? Do they ever regret it? Do I forgive them? Drop your guess in the comments. And if this story is hitting close to home, stick with me. Because this is where everything starts to change. My uncle, James Hale, lived about 2 hours away. Small house. Quiet life. No kids. Never married. But from the moment I walked in, it felt different. He gave me a room. Not a couch. Not a corner. A room. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged somewhere. He didn't try to fix me. Didn't lecture me. He just showed up. Every day. Over the next few years, I changed. I focused on school. On building skills. On becoming someone I could rely on. By 18, I had a full ride to a state university for computer science. By 22, I graduated top of my class. By 25, I had co-founded a tech startup that scaled faster than I ever imagined. We built software for logistics companies. Nothing flashy. But it worked. And it grew. By 28, I was financially secure. Not just stable. Free. And the craziest part? In all those years, my parents never once reached out. Not for birthdays. Not for holidays. Nothing. Until last week. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was working from home. There was a knock at the door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, everything inside me went cold. My mother was standing there. And behind her, my father. 15 years. And that's how I saw them again. Not at a reunion. Not at a hospital. At my front door. Looking smaller. Tired. Different. Marcus, my mom said. Like she still had the right to say my name that way. I didn't invite them in. What do you want? I asked. They looked at each other. Then my dad stepped forward. We need your help. Of course they did. I'm going to pause right here. Because what they asked me for changes everything. If you think you know where this is going, you probably don't. My dad stood there, avoiding eye contact. My mom, on the other hand, tried to hold it together, but I could see it in her face. This wasn't a visit. This was a last resort. We've been having financial issues, she said carefully. That word. Issues. Like it was some minor inconvenience. Ryan got injured, my dad added quickly. Football didn't work out. Medical bills, things piled up. There it was. Ryan. Still the center of everything. Even now. We lost the house, my mom said. I didn't react. Didn't move. Didn't invite them in. And we heard, she hesitated, scanning my house behind me, that you've done well. Heard. Not asked. Not checked. Just heard. My dad finally looked up at me. We need a place to stay. Just for a while. Until we get back on our feet. A while. That phrase echoed in my head. 15 years of silence. And now they needed a while. I leaned against the doorframe. Studying them. Really studying them. These were the same people who left me on a curb with a bag and a phone that barely worked. The same people who didn't call. Didn't check if I was alive. And now. They were asking me for shelter. I almost said no immediately. Almost. But something stopped me. Not compassion. Not guilt. Something else. Something colder. Come in, I said. They stepped inside slowly. Like they didn't quite believe it. My mom looked around like she was trying to piece together how my life turned out like this without her. My dad stayed quiet. Still avoiding my eyes. I led them into the living room. They sat down. Closed together. Like they were bracing for impact. I'll be clear, I said. This isn't permanent. They both nodded quickly. Too quickly. Of course, my mom said. We just need time. Time. That word again. I sat across from them. And for a moment, no one spoke. Then my mom did something I didn't expect. She smiled. Soft. Careful. We always knew you'd be successful. I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. That was the first honest reaction I'd had since they arrived. No, I said. You didn't. Silence. My dad shifted in his seat. My mom's smile faded. We made mistakes, she said. There it was. The closest thing to an apology I was ever going to get. But even that felt rehearsed. Like a line she practiced on the drive over. I leaned forward. You didn't make a mistake, I said. You made a decision. That landed. Hard. Neither of them spoke. You chose to get rid of me, I continued. That wasn't an accident. My dad exhaled slowly. We were under pressure. No, I cut him off. Don't do that. He stopped. You don't get to rewrite it now. The room went quiet again. He nodded. Just once. Like he knew I was right. For the next few days. They stayed. I gave them the guest room. Set clear boundaries. No access to my office. No discussions about money. No pretending we were a family. They agreed to everything. Of course they did. They didn't have a choice. But something felt off. Small things at first. My mom asking questions about my business. How much do you make from this? My dad casually mentioning investments. You ever think about expanding? Taking on partners? It wasn't concern. It wasn't curiosity. It was calculation. And I recognized it instantly. Because I'd seen it before. Just in a different form. 3 days later. Everything became clear. I came home earlier than expected. Their voices were coming from the kitchen. They didn't hear me walk in. He owes us, my mom said. I froze. He wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for us, she continued. My chest tightened. My dad didn't argue. Didn't correct her. He has more than enough, she said. We just need to push a little. Push. A little. That word echoed. And suddenly, everything made sense. This wasn't desperation. It was strategy. I stepped into the kitchen. They both went silent. My mom turned around first. Her expression shifted instantly. Oh, Marcus, you're home early. I looked at her. Then at my dad. You should pack your things, I said. Her face dropped. What? You heard me. My dad stood up. Marcus, wait. No, I said calmly. I've heard enough. My mom's voice sharpened. You're really going to throw us out? I stared at her. The irony was almost unbearable. Yes, I said. She let out a bitter laugh. After everything we've done for you. That was it. That sentence. That one line. 15 years in the making. I stepped closer. Slowly. You left me on a curb, I said quietly. Her mouth opened. But no words came out. You didn't call. You didn't check. You didn't care. My voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. And now you're here, talking about what I owe you. Silence. Heavy. Final. My dad looked down. My mom looked different. Not angry. Not confident. Just exposed. You can stay tonight, I said. But tomorrow morning, you're gone. They didn't argue after that. Didn't push. Didn't try to negotiate. Because deep down, they knew. The next morning, they left. No dramatic goodbye. No apology. Just gone. And as I closed the door behind them, I expected to feel something. Anger. Relief. Satisfaction. But what I felt instead was peace. A week later, I got a message from an unknown number. It was my mom. I hope someday you can forgive us. I stared at it for a long time. Then I replied. I already did. Pause. Typing bubble. Then gone. I sent one more message. But forgiveness doesn't mean access. And I blocked the number. Here's the thing no one tells you about situations like this. Forgiveness isn't about letting people back in. It's about letting yourself move forward. My parents didn't lose me when they showed up at my door. They lost me 15 years earlier. When they decided I wasn't worth keeping. And I built a life that proved them wrong. Not for revenge. Not for validation. But because I deserved better. And so do you. If there's one thing I want you to take from this story, it's this. You don't owe loyalty to people who only show up when you have something they want. Not even if they're family. Especially if they're family. Your boundaries are not cruelty. They're self-respect. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is close the door. For good. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever had to walk away from people who were supposed to love you, drop a comment and share your experience. And if you want more stories like this, hit subscribe. Because some lessons are too important not to hear twice. Until next time.